Hi, everybody. It's Curtis Davies and Amy Whitney from RealEnglishConversations.com. And today we're going to talk to you about something that has been part of our lives over the last 15 to 20 years, something that's integrated into our lives during that time. And that's apps and software. We almost can't live without it. And we wanted to tell you guys about some of the things we like to use. So, Amy, what is something that you're using right now that is an app or a software tool?
I think that I'm going to talk about one which is an audiobook app that I really like to use. And I guess it's not just an audiobook app. You can actually read or you can choose the audiobook format. I think they have podcasts and all sorts of other things, but it's an app called Scribb. And Scribb is, I have a small subscription fee. I think it's $8 or $9 per month, but it's amazing because I can go on there and I can find really interesting books about a wide range of topics. For me, I really enjoy, it depends really what I'm doing. If I'm just relaxing at night, I tend to like listening to Spanish audiobooks that are sort of like fiction or just light-hearted kind of listening material because I'm usually listening before I go to bed. But I can also find different books related to business and marketing and other interests that I have. So I really like having this app and I prefer it over some of the more well-known ones. Like I think Audible is a really well-known one. But what I don't like about Audible is that they limit you to one audiobook or two audiobooks per month or something. And it's like a credit system where what I really hate is when I start listening to a book and it isn't really that great or it's not a topic that I'm interested in. I want to be able to switch at any time. And with this app, I could do that. There are also some really cool features in it, like at night, if I only want the app or the audio to be playing for 5 or 10 minutes or to turn off at the end of the chapter, I can set it to do that so that it's not playing all night long. And I can also adjust the speed of the audio. So if it's a book and I feel like the author is narrating fairly slowly, I can turn it up to like 1.25% or 1. What would it be? 1.25 times, for example. Or if it's a difficult to understand book in another language, I might want to slow it down to like 90% speed so that I have a better understanding. What about you? What would you say is an app that you use and like quite a lot?
So, I'm going to talk about DJing and how it's transformed from the past to now into the digital age. So, back in the day, I used to haul a lot of records and turntables to play those records on, which were really, really, really heavy. And I used to haul them in my truck to take them to the wedding or the school dance or whatever party I was playing. So now it's transformed into all I have to do is load my digital music onto a USB stick and put it into a player, a digital player now. They're like the same kind of thing as a turntable, but smaller and in a digital form and a lot less heavy. So it's really easy for me to go somewhere like a lounge or any sort of event, take my USB stick with my music, plug it into these players, and do my show, do my event or my gig. So it's something that's really made DJing easier for DJs to get a handle on their shows and not have to haul a bunch of heavy equipment and records with them anymore. I even have a friend who just takes his laptop with him and his USB stick. He doesn't even use players. So he just plugs his USB stick into his laptop and his digital software DJ players appear on his screen. I think he's even got a touch screen. He touches the screen and drags and drops his music to the players by his fingers. For me, I'm kind of like still stuck in the old school. I like hands-on. I like to use equipment. So I like to have the players with me, the actual machines to load my music in. What's another software or app that you use, Amy?
going to talk a little bit about one that I think most of the world is familiar with, which is Airbnb. And as you guys know, Curtis and I like to travel, but I mean, you don't even really have to travel far or to another country for Airbnb to be a useful app. And I find it just really exciting to be able to look at different places that you can go and see the different types of accommodations that you can stay at. So, for example, the last place that we went to, I had never heard of it. It was just last week we went to a small town called Mazamitla, and Mazamitla is in the mountains in our own state here in Jalisco, where we live in Mexico. But what caught my attention, or how I discovered it, was because it was under the, I don't know what it is. It's like an option that says unique accommodations or something like that. And I saw all of these really cool cabins and houses and things. And I thought, wow, that's a cool place. I'd like to go there. The thing is that, of course, when I first discovered it, it was too far away. I was looking for something that was just maybe 2 or 3 hours away, and I knew we needed to have a longer vacation in order to drive 7 or 8 hours to get to Mazamitla. But, it was awesome because I went there and you can set your dates that you want to travel, the different things that you need, like for me, speaking of technology, I need Wi-Fi. Like I will not go on a vacation without Wi-Fi. And I can set that setting. I can see what type of bed we're going to be staying in and the different features and pictures that this place has. So I like Airbnb also because I can read the reviews of other people, and that gives me an indication of if the place is clean, if the owner is attentive, if we're going to have any problems when we're there. And all of that together has made really this app a super cool way to stay in some really neat houses in different areas, whether it be within your own country or traveling abroad and I don't know, just being in a totally new country that you've never visited before.
Mhm.
So what about you, Curtis? What is the last software tool or app that you want to talk about?
Well, as you know, being Canadian, Canadians are really obsessed with the weather. So I think I've even gotten more obsessed with this weather application. I use a couple of different ones. One for temperatures, for seeing how hot it's going to be, how
Like the forecast, right?
yeah, like the forecast, and how much humidity is in the air usually, that sort of thing. And I have this other app that shows me more of a radar look or point of view. So it shows me wind speed and the amounts of rain and stuff. So during rainy season, like it is right now, when we see tropical storms coming into the Pacific Ocean and other things happening out there, it will actually show the speed and the amount of rain and if it's coming close to the coast where we live. And there have been some really, really interesting things that you can watch. So it's got real time live motion movement of things where you can track and watch where these things are going to go. And I find it very useful and interesting. And I kind of get carried away with it sometimes where it's like, ooh, wow, it's all swirly and it's got, red color and yellow color for the amounts of rain and wind that are in the storm. So I can actually see how severe it is. And Amy, it bugs me all the time. She's like, it's just a little storm. Don't worry about it. But when you see it on the screen, it sometimes looks a lot bigger or a lot more severe than it actually will be. So I tend to worry about it a little bit more.
I don't think that actually you have as much experience with predicting the precipitation. If you remember back in the day when I used to go snowboarding all the time, like, and is obsessed snow junkie, I don't know. I used to look at the weather radar in our area, and I could see the precipitation that was coming, and I knew if it was going to be a powder day. So for me, I was really analyzing it, and I knew the trends. I could see a time where it would actually be snowing at the ski resort versus just snowing in a different area, how thick the bands of moisture were, and how much snow was actually going to fall. So with Curtis, he, looks at it and he sees anything in red or orange and he thinks that the world is going to end. And I'm like, no problem. Don't worry about it. Anyway, this has been an interesting conversation, and I think we could go on and on about the different apps and what we use and why we use them. So that's it for today, and we will see you in the next podcast lesson.
Bye, guys.